Hello, Cathar Love 106. The Divine Spark. The Cathar Divine Spark. I think there's probably nothing more important to Cathar beliefs, the Cathar philosophy, the Cathar essentials, than understanding our divine spark. Why? The whole reason for a Cathar's existence, the whole reason for a person being created from the Cathar point of view, is that our divine spark will ultimately return to its source of creation, to the source of everything, the source. This is what it's all about. But it's good, because it's just great if you have that Cathar belief to know that ultimately you and I, and when I say you and I mean our divine spark, will ultimately return to the source. We all have a mind, a body and a soul. Most religions, pretty much all religions, agree with that. Many of science also agree with that. But to the Gnostic, and especially the Gnostic Cathars, beyond the mind, the body and the soul, we have a divine spark. And that divine spark is given to everything upon its creation. By everything, it means everything. Rocks, trees, animals, bacteria, humans, extraterrestrials. It doesn't matter. Upon creation, we are given this divine spark, and ultimately every divine spark desires to return to the source of creation, to the source. From a human perspective, I would say from an extraterrestrial perspective, interesting. I think this is the year that a lot of knowledge about extraterrestrials will be made positively public, simply because, sorry to diverge for a second, simply because there are now so many scientists, astronauts, intelligence people, radar experts, politicians, all over the world. When I say all over the world, I include Russia, United States, England, who are coming out. And many of these people, they're not long for death, and they've been kept quiet. Some of these people have kept secrets about extraterrestrials for some 30 years, and there's just so many coming out now, and that the people who don't want it to come out are literally, there's just too many now. A small stream became a flood, and that flood is coming out, and then now there's just that information from people who cannot be refuted. Their respectability is above refutation, which is a good thing. So let's include our friends, and they're there anyway, and let's include them in the conversation. So back to extraterrestrials, let's move from extraterrestrials and back to the divine spark. So what is our divine spark? Well, I'll put it in this way, it's more a Cathar prayer, affirmation. My beloved source, thank you for the gift of creation. Have to start somewhere. Thank you for the gift of existence. That means lifetime after lifetime. Thank you for the gift of immortality for eternity. Now there's the big picture. From the point of creation, we are given the gift of immortality for eternity, which means that the journey is as important as the destination. And in fact, the journey is the destination because it's eternal. It's never ending. So even when we have ultimately rejoined the source, nothing to do with guilt and sin and heaven and hell and all this type of stuff that religions keep people controlled with. Ultimately, we will return to the source. And even when we return to the source, it's still eternal. We won't be left idle, playing harps and singing in choirs, celestial choirs. There's work to be done, things to be learnt, and we have eternity to do it. Continuing on, thank you, my beloved source, for the special gift of healing. Now everybody can heal. Everybody does heal. When you smile, when you say something caring, when you have empathy with somebody else, when you're listening to them, you're actually healing them. A lot of people who go to doctors, just the doctor looks attentive, and that is enough to actually help the person. That's part of the healing. And every human has the capacity for healing, and many animals as well. But unfortunately, for most of us, our healing is submerged amongst the to and the throw of life, the busyness of life. So our healing capacities are submerged for most of us. But then a few of us, we wake up and we discover these things are there, and lo and behold, we have a capacity for healing. So, but most importantly, my beloved source, thank you for the gift of my divine spark. My divine spark, which is my unchanging individuality, my eternal identity, my unique essence, the innermost core of my being. My divine spark, which longs to bask in the absolute radiant beauty of the source, which longs to be totally immersed in the absolute unconditional love of the source for everybody and everything everywhere. My divine spark, which longs desperately to be reunited with the source, and ultimately will be in absolute bliss, harmony and joy, in absolute happiness when the necessary cycle of reincarnation are completed to the stage where I believe, live and practice pure unconditional love for everybody and everything, everywhere. So there's a little, what should we say, that pretty much sums up our divine spark. So this is Catharism. This is the the crux of Catharism. Everything else is irrelevant. Cathars aren't into having babies. Life is a hard road. And from the medieval Cathars and even the Bogomils and the Paulicans before them, they thought, why bring a child into this, in those days, an extremely nasty world of famine and war and pestilence and disease? Better not to have children. Better just to try and develop a quality of lives for ourselves and ultimately go on. They're not interested in hell or heaven, marriage, baptism, all these things, rituals. I heard somewhere that religion has 10 selling points. Grandeur, the great cathedrals, and no one can deny that some of them are magnificent buildings. Many of the mosques, absolutely magnificent in Spain. Ritual, well, the Catholic Church especially, it's ritual piled on ritual. The social act, togetherness. Well, there's millions. In most religions, there are millions. And whatever the others are, I don't really know. I heard them, but I've forgotten them. So there's 10 good selling points for religion to come there, or the fact that making you aware that you've committed a sin. Now that you've committed a sin, well, we're the people who can forgive you that sin. Well, Catharism doesn't have much of that at all. Ain't got no churches. Don't need them. Worship anywhere. Stillness, if anything, is one's church. Meditation is one's church. Ritual, haven't got much of that either. Grandeur, possibly the philosophy is rather grand, I think, but it lacks that. So, what about goodness and kindness and caring? I heard a lovely quote, and I don't know its author, but it said, if you have the choice of being right or kind, be kind. Because if you are kind, you'll always be right. Now I subscribe to that. So the divine spark, our divine spark, mine, yours, that's the absolute essence of Catharism, and it's the journey from the creation of one's divine spark through reincarnations until they're no longer necessary. We've evolved to that particular stage where it's no longer necessary, and then our continuing journey, and of course whatever that is, I'm sure that will unfold as we get to those various signposts, but it is an eternal journey. So the journey really is the destination. So if things don't go right, if you can't get your act together this lifetime, I certainly haven't got mine, working on it, but it's not such a big deal. There's other lifetimes, there's other places, it may not even be this planet. There's no need to sweat the small stuff, you know. We've all made mistakes. Some of us have made some pretty nasty mistakes, but that's what it's about. It's not that you're a good person or you're a bad person. The best of people can do some terrible things, and the worst of people can do some wonderful things, because we all have a capacity for doing great things and nasty things. We do at different times. Hopefully we wake up to the fact, and that we realise that ultimately goodness and kindness and sharing and caring, this is really the way to go. Interconnecting with our friends, developing our friendships, enjoying life. It's a gift. Enjoy it. But death's a gift as well. So when it's time to die, hopefully it's not too strung out, that's a good thing too, because that's going to take you to death. So ultimately, make the best of life and make the best of death. And then after a sojourn in the land of spirit, it's time for another reincarnation. If you're going to be reincarnated again, well, that's okay. We'll kick off again. And we'll sort out a few things we maybe didn't sort out this time. But the thing is to make the most of our life, make the most of our gifts, make the most of our strengths, the things that aren't so strong, we try and develop them. And if we don't, people talk about, I've got this goal and I've got that goal and I want this. I don't have a goal. I had a few when I was young, but really I suppose I have aspirations. I would like to do that. I enjoy this, so I go in that direction. I love ballroom dancing. Ballroom dancing keeps me fit. I love the social aspect. I love the music and the fact that you're dancing to music. And rather than disco on my own, I like to dance with a woman in my arms. Now, if you're gay, you can dance with a guy in your arms or a girl in your arms. It doesn't matter. But this is fact, that you've got that other person, and you're working in unison together. You're synchronized with that other person. It's even being close to them. It's heart against heart, and there's a sensual aspect to it, but there's a meditative aspect to it. It's active meditation. Now, I'm not even suggesting that people ballroom dance, but I'm sorry for those who don't, because I just enjoy it so much. But it's also about health, and we have a body, and so therefore we have a responsibility towards keeping that body healthy. There's no point in having the greatest mind, or one of the great minds in the area, if you don't have a body that's going to support the brain and the mind and so forth. So it's respect is a very big major part of it, but that's respect for ourselves and respect for everything else that has a divine spark. So does that mean you don't eat meat? No, but it does mean that you understand where it's come from, and hopefully you've done your part, that you buy free range, that they're not cooped up in the eggs, or the chickens are not cooped up in these big factories and so forth. So you're playing your part as far as that animal is concerned, whether you eat animals or not, that they're living the best lives there are. But the plain fact is, one thing eats another. Now, we can weep over the fact that lions have been eating gazelles for the last million years, and what might be a pretty bad day for the gazelle might be a very happy day for the lion or the lioness that can feed its cubs. So death and life are intertwined, but the thing is that we respect both life and respecting death, because from a Cathar point of view, everything has this divine spark. Upon creation we have it, and so it's one of the reasons I'm saying this is because I was reading, someone was talking about the historical aspect of Cathars, and the fact they were vegetarians, and they said one of the reasons was because rich people ate meat, poor people couldn't afford it, didn't have it, and so the monks, the wealthy, meat was theirs. The peasants, the poor people, they ate vegetables. Now, these days there's a bit of a turnaround. There's some of the people who are more well off or probably better educated now know that the veggies are the good stuff, and too much meat not too good for you. So there's an intellectual turnaround. But the aspect was that they were saying that the Cathars, that they were trying to give an explanation as to why they didn't eat meat. But the thing is, the Cathars respected animals, and the Cathar elite didn't kill any animal. They didn't kill a chook, didn't kill anything. The only thing it ate was fish. And even it abstained from fish because the Cathars were great on fasting, and they had 3 major fasts, big ones, 40 days fast a year. And of that 40 days, the first fast they'd fast quite strongly for the first 2 weeks, and then not too much for the remaining weeks. So they took their fast very seriously. So obesity wasn't a problem with the Cathars. And all this fasting, and part of that was to fast track their spiritual growth and mystical growth, that they wouldn't have to reincarnate. But there were those Cathars who said that they desired to reincarnate until such time as the world understood about Catharism, when Catharism is all about love, unconditional love, and respect for all. So our divine spark, it's having an understanding of that in relationship to your own divine spark and yourself. That is the essential nature, the essential essence of Catharism. Just to finish up, I am a ex-Chinese herbalist. Now, I'm not trying to push Chinese herbalism onto you or anybody else. And I was astounded to hear that some Norwegian friends of mine told me that they don't have Chinese medicine in Norway. Well, you know, I was a bit surprised at that. But there are quite a few things in Chinese medicine that are just that people can use themselves. But one needs a little bit of knowledge about it, and so I want to introduce. It's not part of Catharism, but it'll just simply be Chinese medicine 1, etc. Keep going, and just explain different aspects of Chinese medicine and how you can incorporate that into your lives if you so need it. So this is something I intend to start, but in a practical way. I'll give a little bit of some of the idea of Chinese medicine and some of the theories behind it and so forth, but it'll be a practical thing. Now, the other thing was that on the first Sunday of each month, which I think in February will be the 5th, anyhow, the first Sunday is at noon, we do half an hour and a half an hour healing. So I will, wherever you are at noon at that time, if you wish to be involved, and what I'm doing is I'm just sending out healing to people who subscribe to me. Now, why? To make them special, to separate. I'm not trying to separate them from somebody else, but obviously I can't do it to the whole of America or England or whatever. So what I'm doing is to those people who do subscribe, obviously they're people who do listen to me, so I'm sending out that 20 minutes, half hour, 25 minutes, whatever it happens to be, probably around about 20 minutes of healing at that time, and the other person can certainly, it's up to themselves, but sit quietly, try and just not think of anything good or bad or whatever, you put their mind into neutral. If there's some aspect about themselves that they feel they need assistance with, I'll direct that healing or our healing. So, but with you taking in this healing, it's also you offering healing to others within that particular group as well. So it's not just me, it's all of us together offering healing for each of the other people. And we'll just keep it within those subscribers because it keeps it within the group. If there's somebody else you wish to direct it to, of course, that's entirely up to you. So, and now just to finish, just doing a 1 minute of silence, and because it's just good to have 1 minute of silence and just to take in possibly what I've said about the divine spark, go over it in your mind, and rather than just switch off and you're gone, it's just to give a minute, and if it's a bit more than a minute, a bit less than a minute, it doesn't really matter. So we'll start the minute now. Okay, all the best for now.